It's really sweet to sit with you all tonight, particularly tonight. Right? It's been quite a week. In fact, somebody was crying to me earlier today and said, "This week is so long and it's only Wednesday." And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "I can't take any more of this week." And I was like, "I totally get that." So it has been a long week for a lot of people, with a lot of ups and downs and probably more to come. So yeah. So why don't we go ahead and get started? We'll just take some time to get comfortable and find a comfortable position. If you like to lay down for your meditation, just make sure that you have a pillow under your knees so that your lower back drops and you feel a little more comfortable for a longer period of time. And you can close your eyes, or if that's not comfortable for you, just have a very soft gaze about 3 or 4 feet in front of you. And it's a soft gaze. We're not looking at anything in particular. And we do this just so that we don't get visually stimulated. Otherwise, that starts a lot of thinking. So we just want to have a quiet eye space for ourselves. And so just take a breath or two just to let yourself arrive and settle. Just to kind of come into this moment. And tonight especially seems like a good night to begin with just taking all the stories and all the thoughts that are running through our head, and just take the stories and put them outside the door for this sit. Just put them outside. We don't have to get rid of them. We just put them over there for now. And you're always welcome to pick them back up at the end of the sit if you want to. And so as we do that and put the stories outside, one of the other things we can put outside the door is our worry. We often think that when we worry about something, we're somehow helping it. But the truth is, worry is just worry. And so things are playing out in the world the way they're playing out. Votes have already been cast. Dramas are unfolding. But we don't have to worry about it right now. Our worry's not going to change that story. So we can let go of our worry and just settle into noticing how your body, mind, and heart, how your system is showing up right now. This may be the first time you've checked in with yourself today. And so just noticing how this system is. You may feel anxious or a lot of energy. Feel tight or braced. You may feel exhausted. Or perhaps you feel relaxed and at ease. Whatever you're noticing, just let that be the case at the moment. No struggling with it, arguing with it. Just allowing. Conditions are such at this moment. Whatever you find, I invite you to not hold on to it. So allow it to be here, but allow it to also release and flow. All that we hold in our body is energy. And so you can let any stressful energy just rise off your body or flow out of your body. You may notice it flowing out of your hands or feet. Or your back. Or the top of your head. No need to hold on to it. If it's a lot of energy today, imagine you're sitting in a big natural space, someplace safe, some big sky, and give it lots of room. The more space and room we give it, the softer it is. If your body is shaking, just know that that's just extra energy, and it can all flow out, allowing your system to settle and begin to relax. And if you like, you can also use the breath in support of your practice. So if you have a dedicated practice of breathing, you can use that this evening. And just let my words just flow over you. Or you can also use the breath to gently breathe out any tension on the out-breath. There can be physical tension or pain that you just breathe out and release on the out-breath. Or you may notice mental tension. And that too can be breathed out. Or you may notice some emotional tension. Your heart hurts, or you feel some fear or sadness or grief. And again, just gently breathing it out. Allowing your system to soften and empty. And with energy flowing out and breath releasing, you may notice it starts to get a little quieter inside. Or your body softens a little. If so, allow that to happen. Allow your system to come back into balance. And tonight I'm just going to offer the loving kindness phrases. We'll do it 2 times. And I'll say a line and then leave a space for you to say it for yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well and healthy. May I be safe from inner harm and outer harm. May I be free. May I be joyful and content. And let us include all others. So may all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be well and healthy. May all be safe from inner harm and outer harm. May all be free. May all be joyful and content. And so for these last few moments, I invite you to continue whatever settles your system. Maybe flow or breath, or gently saying these kindness phrases to yourself. Allowing your system to settle and be at ease. So I just want to share this quote. The act of meditation or mindfulness is being spacious. Being spacious. Letting go of all that extra tension. So tonight, given what's going on in the world, I wanted to talk about self-care. When we take care of ourselves and we have self-care, we also have community care, because when we're not agitated, then we're not agitating the system. And so taking care of self also takes care of others, takes care of our community. And since things are pretty riled up at the moment, seems like a good night to focus on that a little bit. So I just wanted to just name some things that actually are helpful when dealing with these levels of tension that we're in right now. And the first one I actually already mentioned, and that is that worry does not actually control things. We like to think if we worry about things that somehow we're putting some kind of mental energy towards it leaning one way or the other. But actually it doesn't. It just agitates the mind and agitates us and agitates people around us. And so the idea of thinking that we can control things with our worry doesn't really work. And so I really want to make a plug to not be so attached to worry, to not value it too much. It doesn't really serve us in these times. And to that end, one of the things we can do when we're overwhelmed by what's going on around us is to guard the sense gates. And so the sense gates are our ears, our eyes, our nose, any of the five senses. Actually, the mind is a sixth sense that we have. And so one of the things we can also do is take breaks to not turn on the TV, not check Facebook every 5 minutes. Maybe don't check Facebook for hours, or your social media or the news, counts of what's going on. To just take a little break and put it all down for a little bit. Because when we're assaulted by that kind of information, all it does is burn out our nervous system, burns out our amygdala and all our nerves. And this is where people get exhausted and they get tripped. And, I've had some friends today screaming about needing Xanax, things like that. And so it's like, okay, people are like tipped over, they're going to extreme thinking. Like somebody said, I've lost my faith in all of humanity. And it's like, okay, you're a little bit tipped over, come back, right? So when that's happening, really great to guard the sense gates. Turn it off, shut it down, really hide your phone if you have to. Put it under a pillow or something so you don't see it when you walk by the counter. Otherwise you get triggered. One of the other things is to make this space, to make spaciousness, so that all the energy that is inside actually has a chance to get out. And so sometimes when we're really revved up, it's too hard to find our seat. That's why I always start with getting some of the energy out of our system. It's so hard to be mindful when your thoughts are like racing. So doing things that give you spaciousness. Some things to think about: taking a walk and being outside, being outdoors in any kind of way around big sky. Even if it's just you go and sit out on your front porch for a minute, or take a walk down the block, or, go in the backyard for a moment. Something where there's some big sky and more space clears the mind so much more quickly than when we're inside. And to that end, doing soothing things inside, so I had a lot of people talk to me this week about how much they were doing comfort eating and comfort drinking. And I'm like, okay, that's probably not working so good. So everybody just feels hungover somehow. You can have a sugar hangover. It could be alcohol. I mean, hangovers are not fun. In fact, when we have them, we're less able to handle what's coming next. So doing some things that are comforting, that don't involve food and alcohol and overeating and too much whatever, right? So I like to think about things like taking a warm bath or a warm shower and just letting the water just run down your body. Sometimes I like to think of the water as loving kindness. Like I'm sitting in a waterfall of loving kindness and it's just washing all that tension out of my body, or soaking in the tub. Laying down and just letting go. Just let all the energy rise off your body. Things like that. Getting in your comfy pajamas, your comfy clothes, your biggest sweater, whatever feels good and nourishing to you. The other one we also did tonight, which was loving kindness practice. To really just pull out those phrases and say them to yourself like a mantra all day long. If you don't have them memorized, you can just go to my webpage, fallon-cyr.com, and the loving kindness phrases are right there. And you can take a picture with your phone. I actually had somebody who made it their face screen. They made the loving kindness phrases their face screen so that every time they turned on their phone, that was what came up. And so it just was a little reminder for them. If you practice in the Christian tradition, along these same lines is doing centering prayer practice and really just deepening into centering prayer and letting this burden, to give this burden to God in the Christian faith can be so helpful. For those of you who are interested in centering prayer and don't really know too much about it, you can go on YouTube and there's a bunch of videos of Father Thomas Keating, very famous mystic teacher, and he explains centering prayer. So if you're not familiar with the practice, you can go on YouTube and listen to his teachings on it. And he has books on it as well that you could download. So just this idea of coming back into our center, into the silence, into the mystery. The idea that the mystery is bigger than what's happening on the planet right now, right? These are all waves, and yeah, they might be 90-foot rogue waves, that could turn over the Poseidon, or a big ship. But in terms of the ocean, they're just a wave. So when we come back into the centering with the silence within and the mystery and God, if your idea of the Creator or that which is bigger than us, we take refuge right there. I have some people that are very earth-oriented, and they think of it as Mother Earth. Whatever it is that's bigger than, just taking that refuge, that step back. For those of you who've practiced essence with me, being inside, feeling that energy in the front that's so agitating, and then take a step back into that quiet, that stillness that's deep, deep within. And just taking refuge right there can be so centering and so beautiful. So I highly recommend it. I do it multiple times a day, particularly when I'm stressed. Another thing that can be quite helpful is remembering that everything is temporary, right? The world is made of that which changes all the time. And a week from now, this will be a very different story. And so everything is changing. Everything is changing. Here's this quote from a Sufi master. All wisdom can be stated in 2 lines. That which is done for you. I love that. That which is done for you, not to you, but that which is done for you. Allow it to be done. And what you must do for yourself, make sure that you do it. So this idea that the world is doing what it's doing, it's changing and moving, it's going to be different tomorrow. Let that flow happen. It's happening anyway. Conditions are such, right? And then do what you have to do to float, to be okay in this, to take care of yourself for tomorrow, for tonight, those kinds of things. Yeah. The key that I find in these times is that when we're very attached to the stories that are playing in our head and the fears, that's when we get really revved up. That's when we lose our seat. And so the antidote is this idea of putting the story down for a moment. Putting it down for a moment and finding that spaciousness within. And if you have to breathe it out to get there, that's okay. But it's this idea that we want to be that which is bigger and more spacious than all this really tight drama that's going on. Getting caught up and attached to old stories is just going to scare us more. So I really want to give you permission to keep stepping out of the fray and into this calming for yourself, particularly this week. And then finally, I wanted to just offer something that is already deep within you and just do a little dive, just a little remembrance of a dive for yourself to hold you this week. So I invite you to just take a moment and close your eyes for just a moment. And just take a couple of breaths, just letting go of my words, just emptying out. Emptying out so that you can hear yourself, feel yourself. And I just want to ask you an inquiry question. What is your deepest intention for yourself for this lifetime? What is your deepest intention, that which you really hope and intend to manifest in this life? And feel the goodness of that and the rightness of that. It has a deep wisdom that speaks to your heart. And these are big times right now. Some would say you were born for these times. And so I invite you to sit with the idea that it's time to bring it forward, even though you don't know what that means yet. And it's also time for you to rest in it. That as you go forward in these days, no matter what happens, this is your deepest intention. You can always return here when you're lost and don't know how to go forward or what to do next. to just come home to this. And you'll know what to do. So let this hold you and guide you in your life and in your actions, and any time you get lost. This is who you are, deep, deep down. A quote by Erich Fromm: "Uncertainty is the very condition to impel a person to unfold their power." Uncertainty is the very condition to impel a person to unfold their power. As they like to say, you were born for these times. Yeah. I also heard it as a Chinese curse many years ago. May you be cursed to live during interesting times. I think we're in some interesting times now. But when we get in touch with our deepest intention, there's our seat. It's like, oh, okay, got this. This is my embodiment. This is what I'm aiming for every day. And so you can check yourself with it. Is that working? Are you there? If you're, yelling at somebody, chances are you're off your deepest intention. So you might want to check in, take a moment, go take a hot bath, and come home. Yeah. This is known as wise intention. Wise intention. Beautiful teachings that carry us, that have been here through many, many difficult times before on the planet. We have so much wisdom that we can pull from. There have been all kinds of times when things have been riled up and fallen apart. And there's a lot of wisdom we can glean from it. So I encourage you to do that, wherever you find it. Yeah. So I hope that this is of service to your practice and holds you in this week. And I'm making a recording of this, so I'll go ahead and put that up on the webpage and on the True Success webpage as well. So if you want to check back in with it, just to remember, it's there for you. So let's just take a moment, a mindful moment, just so we can share our intention with the greater world. We don't hold it all for ourselves. When we touch ease or wisdom, we want it to bubble out. We want to share it so that it flows, so that it's not all held here. So I just invite you to close your eyes for a moment, just as we share this. And so any ease that you may be feeling, or centeredness, may it saturate your very cells and hold you this week. And may it ripple out from your being to those around you, known and unknown, so that peace and ease flows through the world, the whole world, and that all beings can remember how to come home to themselves, to touch ease, to touch wisdom, and their deepest intention. When we're all in touch with our deepest intention, the world goes well. And so I'll leave you with this quote tonight from Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of the greats. When it is dark enough, you can see the stars. When it is dark enough, you can see the stars. So may you see the stars, let them guide you. May your intention and beautiful heart guide you. And trust, it's all changing. It's all changing. Nothing lasts forever. So thank you for your attention and your practice. It helps the world when we calm and then bubble that out. And look forward to sharing more of the journey with you. I'm sure it'll get interesting over the next few days.